Hello, everybody. Dr. Evelyn here from Pet Nutrition Doctor, and I am so excited today because we're going to be joined by Jody Griffiths from Standard Process. As most of you know, our pet holiday giveaway has started, and we have some amazing products in there, including, of course, my course, Feed Food Not Pharma. But then I'm also including many of the supplements and nutritional products that I recommend and use myself. Now, today I'm going to be talking about two products from Standard Process. Standard Process is an amazing company that's been around for over 90 years, providing nutritional supplements for people and for pets. They are a socially and environmentally conscious company. And in fact, they are passionate about the environment. They grow the majority of the plant material that's used in the product on their own 600-acre organic farm. Talk about quality control from seed to bottle. So today we're joined by Jody Griffith, and she has been providing clinical support to veterinarians, technicians, and staff members for Standard Process for the past 12 years. She's passionate about the importance of nutrition and enjoys educating veterinary professionals on the benefits of whole food supplements and how that can help their patients. And I've definitely talked to Jody many times when I've had my challenging patients and all kinds of issues going on. She is so knowledgeable about these products, both the veterinary and the human products. So sometimes we have to combine the two for some complicated cases. And I always appreciate her input and her knowledge because it is profound. Now, she does have a life outside of Standard Process, which is hard to believe because I think she knows everything about the company, but she is a certified veterinary technician. She's worked in mixed animal practice for 11 years before coming to Standard Process, so definitely understands taking care of animals all types, large and small. And when not at work, Jody loves spending time with her husband and 7 children. Wow, Jody, you're busy. That's awesome. And her 2 black labs, Kona and Echo. So Jody, welcome. Thank you so much for coming today, and really excited to be talking with you today.
Thank you, Dr. Cass. I'm excited to be here, and I really appreciate the invitation to join you today.
Great, great. So Standard Process is including 2 products in our package, the canine whole body support and the feline whole body support. Can you explain a little bit about the philosophy, because it is a little bit different? I talk a lot about plant-based health and using the phytonutrients and the nutrients from plants as well as whole food for sure when we're feeding with whole meats, but Standard Process looks at things from a slightly different standpoint. So if you could share that, I would appreciate that.
Absolutely. Standard process philosophy, like you said, for over 90 years now, has been that we want to provide the body, both human bodies and animal bodies, with nutrients, vitamins and minerals, and really all of the good stuff that the body requires from foods. And that really is our basic philosophy, that we would prefer that we're providing the body with foods that are the sources of those vitamins and minerals versus supplying them in a megadose, isolated, or a synthetic form. And so if you're looking at our supplements compared to many other supplement companies that are out there, it's just a different approach. It's kind of like comparing apples and oranges, honestly. Our approach to providing nutrients to the body is using foods, whereas other supplement companies might be using more individual vitamins and minerals, sometimes in a much higher dose. Sometimes if that's what the body needs is a much higher concentration, then there might be a time and place for those types of products. But if we're looking for a more natural approach to supplying those vitamins and minerals, then the Standard Process supplements would be a great complement to be providing those nutrients still in that whole food base.
Right.
Better recognizable by the body often, because the body better knows what to do with those nutrients because they're coming from that food source as nature intended them to come from.
Exactly. And in fact, that's how I formulate my diets. When I'm formulating diets, is I balance things out with whole foods for that same reason. I do believe that the body can recognize that so much better.
Hmm.
And some of these synthetic nutrients either aren't recognized or can even have some unintended consequences, things that
Yep.
we don't really want.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes if we're putting too much of something into the body and the body doesn't need it all, it can actually negatively affect the body because the body has to get rid of that. And sometimes it dumps it in places in the body that we don't want it to be. And so, yeah, so because nutrients occur in much smaller amounts, there's a synergy that comes from getting those nutrients in that food base. And it sometimes is hard to compare like the amount of vitamins and minerals that might be coming from a whole food based supplement compared to another product because it looks like the amounts are so tiny that we often get questions about, are these really going to be doing anything? Is there's so little here, is
Right.
it really going to be providing what the body needs? And it absolutely can, because
Right.
sometimes the body doesn't need such large amounts.
I think that's absolutely true, and that synergy between the other phytonutrients or in place of in terms of animal products, same thing. The body can recognize it and take it. It doesn't necessarily need the quantities. So, can you explain? So, standard process uses more cellular based products from
Hmm.
animals.
Hmm.
You do have whole plants in there, but then you also have cellular products, and they either come from the cytoplasm of the cell or the nucleus of the cell. And it's
Hmm.
a very interesting and a different way of adding nutrition. And maybe compare that to feeding the organ itself. So
Sure,
if we have a
absolutely.
liver parts, what's the difference?
That's a great question. It's a question that we get a lot. So we have actually three types of, I guess you could say, ingredients that are going to be supporting organs and glands in the body. We feel, especially in our canine and feline formulas, because cats are carnivores and dogs are omnivores, that it's important that they have the inclusion of those organs and glandular ingredients in the formulas. Many of our pets aren't getting those types of ingredients at all, or if they are getting them, they're probably getting them in a very small amount, or definitely not in the type of variety that we're providing from the formulas. So there's a couple of extracts that we use, like you mentioned. There's one that's called a cytosol extract, and the other one is called a protomorphogen extract. So these are just kind of big fancy words to explain extracts that were discovered by the founder of our company. His name was Dr. Royal Lee, and he found that using these extracts that are being pulled either from the cytoplasm of the cell or from the nucleus of the cell, we're going to provide a targeted support and a targeted approach to supporting these different organs and glands in the body. And that differs from the third component of our formulas, is being the actual whole tissue. We do use some whole tissue in some of the formulas, whether it be liver or spleen or kidney. And the difference between that is that the whole tissue is going to provide everything that that particular organ or gland in the body requires. It's going to provide some of the actual nutrients. It's going to provide some of those cellular determinants even beyond what we might be getting from some of those extracts. And so it was, Dr. Lee always explained it that the benefit of putting those three components, those two extracts that are unique to us, but then also the whole tissue into a formula, is going to provide this very broad-based approach to supporting not only the function and the health of that organ and gland, but then also supporting the repairing of it, the rebuilding of it, if that needs to happen. And so if you look at the ingredients in many of our canine and feline formulas, you'll see that there are ingredients that have the word cytosol or the initials PMG, which stands for protomorphogen, behind some of those ingredients. Or you might just see that it says bovine liver or ovine spleen, and those would be the ingredients that are the actual whole tissue.
Got it. Got it. Well, thank you. Yeah, that helps a lot. It helps to explain that. And those are things that that can't come from plants, right? Those are things that
Correct.
must come from animal products.
Right. There's lots of benefit to feeding plants, which
Mhm.
you'll see that the ingredient formulas or that the formulas have a lot of plant materials in them as well. But yes, there are definitely some important components that can only come from actual organ and glandular tissue.
Right, right. And I know that sometimes when I'm formulating pet food formulas and recipes for people, some people are a little bit squeamish about getting that spleen or getting that liver and cooking it up or feeding it raw or however they're doing it. And this is a nice way of getting those nutrients in there that maybe are not going to come from the food as much as they would in nature. Because in
Absolutely.
reality, that's what they eat, right? They go for the organs first a lot of times, and then they go to the muscle meat.
Right. Yep.
So
And that really sums up really the whole premise behind where standard process came to be, because Dr. Lee felt strongly that America wasn't eating foods the way that nature intended them to be eaten, and maybe wasn't eating the variety of foods that were going to supply that those vitamins and minerals that are going to be beneficial to the body. So he said, well, if you're not going to eat it the way that it should be eaten, then let me gently process it and put it into a convenient form that you can take on a daily basis. And
yeah.
so that really is a very simple premise behind the standard process supplements.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It is definitely challenging. It's interesting that 90 years ago he was seeing the same problem because, of course, we think of processed food as something a little bit newer than that, and
Hmm.
of the diet being an issue much more recently. But apparently, it's been going on a little bit longer. So
Yeah, he was pretty brilliant, actually very much ahead of his time, I think,
I think so
for
too.
some of the things that have been discovered since then.
Yes, yes, and that's a subject for another day because that gets into some depth. But yes, I remember time
Absolutely.
learning about the messenger RNA and wow,
Hmm.
crazy stuff, very
Hmm.
important stuff. So maybe if you could just take a couple of minutes and talk about the whole body supplements and explain what they do and how they would work for a dog or a cat and how they're going to benefit whoever wins this product or whoever decides they um, would like to just get that anyway.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a canine whole body support and a feline whole body support. And the whole body support is really the broad spectrum overall body support that really any animal, I always joke, any animal that's breathing can benefit from the addition of the whole body support. Canine and feline whole body is great for young animals. It's a great option for puppies and kittens. Great opportunity for you to be talking to Dr. Cass about what you can be doing to be supporting. Maybe you've just brought a new puppy or a new kitten home and you want to make sure that it nutritionally is getting a wide variety of different nutrients in addition to the diets that you're working with her on. So canine and feline whole body support could be a great option for that. It's a supplement that's very safe to be continued for their entire life if that is what's needed. And again, that's the whole benefit of you getting your supplements from your veterinarian, because she can work with you on what supplements are going to be best for your pets from the time that they're very young until the time they're moving into their senior years. And so the canine and feline whole body support, they're going to support multiple organs and systems in the body. They have an emphasis on the endocrine system, which is very beneficial for helping with balancing hormones and multiple other different functions in the body, which endocrine system can be really great for young animals and for the seniors. So it's really, both of them are just great overall body supports that any of your pets could benefit from, based on Dr. Cass's recommendations.
Thank you, Jody.
You're
Um,
welcome.
so, so these products, I know Standard Process is a little different than a lot of other companies in that you don't sell retail and you don't allow these products to be out. Typically, they should not be on Amazon. You do require um, healthcare provider, whether it's human or veterinary, to be involved in this care. So I think you touched on that a little bit just a minute ago as far as, yes, checking in and making sure that the product that you're using is still good. But tell us if you know how the company came to that philosophy, because it seems like you could make a whole lot more money if you just went out on Amazon. Um, and so I'd love to kind of hear your input on that.
Great question. It's a question that we get often. And yeah, we probably could be making a whole lot more money if our products were available retail, or if they're available on Amazon, many different online stores that are selling supplements. And it all goes back to Dr. Lee, the founder of our company. He felt strongly that there needed to be from a professional. So in our world, that should be from a veterinarian. Or if you're interested in these supplements for yourself, you should work with a human practitioner in your area that's familiar with standard process. Dr. Lee felt strongly that the best person that could help a animal or a person determine what supplements are going to be most beneficial for them is the healthcare professional that has a relationship with them, understands their history, understands what their current needs are. And so that's why still today, 90 plus years later, we still require that if you want to get supplements for your pets, that they should be coming from your veterinarian. And that's why I mentioned that it's really important to check in with your veterinarian, to work with Dr. Cass on what supplements are going to be best for your animals. There are many different supplements that are out there. And sometimes you really just need to get a better idea of what your patient or what your pet's needs are. And truly, the best person that can help guide you through that is your veterinarian. And so that's why we feel strongly that the supplements should be coming from the vet that has a relationship with you and knows your animals, so that that best combination of supplements can be determined.
Right. No, and I definitely appreciate that. And um, it is challenging. I've had pet owners come in with the best of intentions, but with only Dr. Google to guide them, and
Right.
a bag of supplements, and some of them are duplication, some of them really aren't appropriate, and so it is nice to have that guidance. And on that note, I think we all know that you probably find these things on Amazon, and I know they're not supposed to be there, but um, if you could address that just briefly, and just what the challenges are with that, and why it's important that they don't get them there.
It is a challenge because I understand that it's very easy to go to Amazon, you pick out what you want, you put it in the cart, you purchase it, and a lot of times it's at your doorstep the next day. There is definitely a major convenience to that. But if any of the canine or feline veterinary formulas, standard process veterinary formulas, are on Amazon or eBay or anything like that, I wouldn't trust it because, as I mentioned, because supplements can only be purchased from us directly by a qualified healthcare professional, any products that are on Amazon are outside of our control. And occasionally I will get calls where a pet owner has purchased a bottle from Amazon, the bottle arrives, the product is rock hard, sometimes the bottle has even been broken. That was before we were using plastic bottles. Now we're using a PBA-free plastic bottle just to cut down on the number of broken bottles that we used to have. But when I would get that phone call, there's really nothing that I can do because we have no way of knowing what happens from the time that product leaves our facilities until the time the product is in that pet owner's hands. It could be sitting on a porch somewhere in 100-degree weather for days because somebody forgot to bring it in. And so that's why it's very important that your supplements are purchased through your veterinarian, because if you're getting them from any other online place, there's a pretty good chance that there could potentially be some issues that I would be much more comfortable if you didn't take that risk.
Right, right. And to go even further, I have a good friend who owns a supplement company, and he guarantees his product as you guys do, but he's gotten things returned to him that the owner said didn't work, or something was wrong with it. And the bottle looks good, the label looks good, but what's inside is not his product. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, there's counterfeit stuff out there. I mean, who would think? But it's a challenge. So, I use Amazon for a lot of things, but
Mm-hmm.
typically I'm cautious with any kind of supplement for that reason.
Right. Yep. I
So,
agree. I
so
agree.
it is definitely a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jody, you have provided so much information, and I really appreciate that. Is there anything, any fun fact, either about yourself or about the company that you would like to share before we go?
Ooh, fun fact.
Not to put you on the spot. I mean, you don't
I
have to, but
um Well, I guess maybe my fun fact for the day is that, like Dr. Cass said, my husband and I have 7 kids. We're pretty ridiculous. We love them dearly, but yes, it can be quite a challenge. And we
especially
also
with
have
them
our
all home now, right?
right. Yes, right now 6 of the 7 children are doing virtual school.
Yes.
Um, I would say that a little fun fact about me is that I worked in practice for almost 12 years, and everybody knows that Labradors are a very popular breed. And it was a breed that I said that I would never have because I always thought they were kind of boring because everybody's got labs. Well, then my husband convinced me that we needed not only one, but 2. So now we have a black and a chocolate, and I will never go back.
Uh,
So to any of you that are lab owners out there, I completely understand now why you have them because they're
yes.
pretty special dogs.
Yes.
Not that others aren't. I also have a place
Mhm.
in my heart for Australian Shepherds, and
Yeah.
many other breeds. I
Right.
probably shouldn't single anyone
Right.
out. But yes, so we love
That's
our labs very much.
That's awesome. Yes, labs are pretty amazing. They have a lot of personality. So,
For sure.
yeah, so that's really fun. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate all the time that you've spent and all the information that you've shared with us today. And I wish you a wonderful holiday. And I thank you again for Standard Process for donating some products for our wonderful holiday health package.
You are very welcome. Thank you so much for thinking of us. I always appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with our veterinarians to help to educate pet owners on the importance of nutrition and just working together to help to improve the quality of life of our patients. So
That's
appreciate the opportunity.
that's awesome, and that's why I work with you and Standard Process. So great.
Wonderful.